Welcome back to the Real Estate 401k Show. I'm your host, Mike Weinstein, alongside Ryan Gerdes. I think you're just going to want to go ahead and text the word weird to 623-AZ Recon. That's weird to 623-AZ Recon because, Ryan, I feel like since COVID, and especially just, since the last couple of years, our traditional summers when it comes down to real estate have not been the norm. They're just different. It's not following the same trends as the way that I saw real estate prior to COVID, including all the different seasons. But this summer's been really weird in Arizona. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Here's what we do know, since May up till now. Inventory has still been low.
Yep.
Okay. But the number of transactions have really been a lot lower than typical summers and so forth. It's bizarre of how low the number of transactions are, but prices are still going up, and it's really just kind of prices are going up, and inventory is still low, but we're just not seeing as many people jump into the market. Which for me, if there weren't as many buyers, I'd be thinking that home prices should, I'm not going to say go down, but should level off.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at economics, but there's always elasticity in the market, So, who knows what? I think what's happened is people have finally said, okay, interest rates are going to be around 7, right? They may go down again. I know that everyone was optimistic that by now they would have gone down and maybe even breached the 5s, but
I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to see high 6s, but I don't think we're going to see 5s for a very long time.
I was always skeptical of that, and I was even more skeptical of the idea of how fast it was going to happen. That everyone, like Habib had forecasted that by the Q1 that we could possibly be in the 5s, and I was like, yeah, good luck on that. I don't see that happening. People are just spending so much damn money. But I think that it's because for here specifically, people are making more money, and we are still seeing quite a few people coming here from out of town, California, Oregon, Washington, where they still are paying $1 million for 1,000 square foot, 2-bedroom, 1 bath, that's not even in a great neighborhood. Then they can come over here and spend $1 million and pretty much live the American dream in some instances, right? So I think that that's probably one of the big contributors is that our unemployment is so low, and furthermore, the type of jobs we have here are good paying jobs, and the cost of living here is still relatively affordable, all things considered, when you look at other major metropolitan cities. So I think that it could just be as simple as that, as far as why prices are still going up. But they're not going up like 2020.
No.
They're going up like
right.
a quarter of a point a month. A third of a point a month is pretty much what the increase is that we're seeing. But that's better than the losses that we were looking at this time of year last year.
Yeah.
Because I think depending on where you were, there was anywhere between a 6% to a 15% decrease over 18 months. From a year ago to 2 years ago. So it's a good thing. Obviously, if you're a real estate investor, if you're a real estate owner, if you don't own any real estate, then I seriously think that it's just going to get more and more difficult for you. I think that we will start seeing more loan programs that are going to provide different options for first and second time home buyers. I see that on the horizon. They've recently made it available. We've talked about the NAR situation, to where you could actually take a loan out to pay for representation. So they're already mobilizing and making things more available for people that are walking into a situation that need representation for that. I foreshadow them doing other things that are going to help other people that need that are in need of home ownership to give them some assistance for that. DPA programs are still around, so I think that all those things are kind of helping the real estate market go up, and also some of those numbers from a year or two ago. There was a lot of people panic selling when they were seeing all those interest rates, adjust a point a month, just going up really high, really fast.
Yeah.
And so even though a home was worth a heck of a lot more, they were just dumping it on the open market and not being patient. So I think those are some of the contributing factors.
Yes, and I think to the point of this, but because typically when prices are going up, there's generally meaning there's a lot of transactions, supply and demand, because we got low inventory. But we're sitting here in a scenario where the number of transactions are considerably lower, and home prices are still going up. And could I make the argument, or could I make the assumption that part of it is that there's just a lot of people out there planning for the worst, listening to God knows whatever news or study or whatever the case is, assuming that the market is going to crash, because we're taking a look at what's going on around the nation, and people are losing their jobs and things like that. And I think there's just like, okay, well, I'm now not sure. I think the market's going to crash. I think that would explain why the number of transactions are down, and I think that people in those camps are going to be missing out.
Okay.
Thoughts? Do you agree?
Yeah,
Can I make that argument?
No. I mean, I don't even think it's an argument. I think that, I think nobody knows, right? I think this is just a good conversation for us because, it's. I'd love to know what our listeners think. I'd love to see what their thoughts are, and I think it's the other thing that is just one of the first things that I learned when I got into this industry was, what is a home worth? Do you know what the answer is?
Well, I have my own answer, but
what's your answer?
Well, my answer is a home is worth what somebody's willing to pay for it based on what an appraiser is going to appraise it at.
Okay. For me, you were on the right track, but it's even simpler than that. It was taught to me at the very beginning that a home is only worth what a buyer is willing to pay for it and a seller is willing to sell it for. And it's just as simple as that, because there's tons of cash transactions out there. Mm-hmm. And 2020 taught us that people are willing to pay significantly over what market value or an appraised value would be. Can we use data based off of the market as a benchmark on what a home is worth, and then the seller can say, you know what, I understand the data might say that this home is only worth $800, but I'm not signing anywhere unless I see $1 million. And there might be a buyer that comes along and says, you know what, I understand the market says $800, but I see $1 million value in your home. Let's do a deal. And we saw that left and right in 2020. It just doesn't happen as much in markets like this, and so that's the real phenomenon, right? Like that's why it's weird. It's because how are values still going up when there's so many options that are still out there?
And I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. It just comes down to it's a strong jobs market here. We've got the perfect storm of industries here, and we learned that during COVID. What Arizona was able to weather during COVID was because of our major industries.
Mm-hmm. And we had a little bit more lax laws on people being able to work, as opposed to California. You couldn't even step outside without a full cavity search.
Do you remember when we were in the San Fernando Valley, which is LA area? We had that flip out there, and we were so frickin' hungry. And we went to, I forgot what it was, I think it was a Fridays or something like that. And we went there and we got stopped out front, and they asked for our vaccination cards, which we're from Arizona. Why would we even have them? And so they wouldn't let us in. So they put us outside on the patio, and it was windy and it was cold. That was one of the most miserable lunches I ever had.
I mean, only thing that I can compare it to is what the Jews must have felt during the Holocaust, because they just shook us down, and it was like you were shunned, and it was like I was like, this is awful. So I was happy to be the hell out of there.
All right. Well, it is. I feel like, and the numbers are showing us it's an interesting market right now in Arizona. You know, the key takeaways: transactions are down, home prices are still going up. If you're in the market to buy, I think one of the most important numbers to look at is days on market. I think there's a lot of opportunities out there, but navigating this particular market really takes some skill. Takes a group of people that are real estate wealth managers and really look at everything through the prism of building wealth in real estate, understanding the numbers and understanding the trends. Would love to have that conversation with you. All you have to do is text the word WEIRD to 623AZ Recon. That's WEIRD to 623AZ Recon.